Gentlemen, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, depending on whatever time that you are watching this. Welcome to my play ratings from Bradford City versus Doncaster Rovers. A very disappointing defeat for us yesterday, and today I am here on my own, unfortunately, to go through and do my play ratings. Now, as you all know, it was Corbyn's birthday during the week. He was very busy today. We're dealing with all that sort of stuff. The only time we could have done it together, or when Corbyn would have been available, would have been this morning. And I was busy in the morning, afternoon sort of time. So unfortunately, our schedules have not kind of aligned and we are unable to do a play ratings together. But yeah, there you go. That is the answer to your question, Dylan. That is where Corbyn is. So I'm sure a few people might have clicked off by this point. But if you're watching this back as a video, make sure to drop a like on there for me. Subscribe to the channel as well if you are new. Let me just quickly switch over to my screen. So when I'm replying to your comments, I'm actually looking at you. But Dylan and Thean, welcome to the stream. How are we doing? Hopefully you're both doing well. So there'll be no question of the week this week. I don't know if we got many answers actually in terms of Corbyn's last week's question of the week. But yeah, unfortunately, this is going to be a bit of a negative player rating, to be honest with you. There's only one rating 7 or higher, which is disappointing. So you did try to get a new co-host, well, a guest. No, Corbyn will still be the co-host for the remainder of this season, or for as long as what we're doing the play ratings for. But yeah, there's certainly no plan to replace Corbyn at the moment. But he was just very busy. So yeah, welcome everybody to the stream. I guess we'll start out firstly with Sam Walker. I'll welcome Finlay to the stream as well while I'm there. Sam Walker, for me, he's going to get a 5 out of 10. I don't think he made any saves in the game which were outstanding. He made, obviously, a couple decent saves, especially in the first half from Luke Molyneux. He made a couple from, I think, Kyle Hurst had a strike or two as well. And he did. Kyle Hurst had a good shot, which was down to Sam Walker's right. It was bobbling, all that sort of stuff. And yeah, it was a good save from Sam Walker, but one that you definitely would expect him to make. And then the reason why it's a 5 out of 10 for me, that first goal, Luke Molyneux, goodness me, Sam Walker, that is shocking goalkeeper. And I actually thought at the time it must have taken a deflection because the goalkeeping was that bad. It's a very tame shot right at him, down the middle. He dives out of the way, still gets a hand on it, and it goes through him again. Everybody was criticising me when I was saying Sam Walker should have done better with the goal on Tuesday, which I still now think he should have saved. Yeah, it's got movement on it, but it ends up next to him. He gets a hand to it, and his hand needs to be stronger. And this one against Doncaster, he definitely has to save that strike from Luke Molyneux. It's a really, really poor piece of goalkeeping. His distribution in the match wasn't great. The Doncaster goalkeeper's distribution was absolutely excellent. So yeah, Sam Walker had a bad game. He's had a few so far this season. It'd be interesting to know how many points you think he saved us and cost us, all that sort of stuff, because obviously he had a really good game at MK Dons, for example, but you look at the Grimsby away first goal, you look at Cheltenham on Tuesday, Carlisle at home, this one against Doncaster. We are starting to see a few goals creep in, which Sam Walker should definitely be saving. So let me know your thoughts in the chat. I'm going to go with a 5 out of 10 for Sam Walker. 4 out of 10, a few good saves in the first half. Second half ruined it. Thean also says 4 out of 10. Why aren't I modding anymore? This is a different channel. I don't think I can give out mods until I get 1,000 subscribers, I'm pretty sure. Yes, you're very right there, Drew. There is no competition for him, and that is a bit of a concern, definitely. But we've been saying that for a long time. Even when Harry Lewis was here, you got no competition. Are you really going to give it absolutely everything? Probably not. I'm not saying Sam Walker's not giving it all, but you're not going to be pushed that maximum. Like we're currently seeing with Brad Halliday and Jay Ben. They're pushing each other to the maximum. Colin Doyle, Zach Cady, they're not going to be pushing Sam Walker. So it is a concern for me. It's something we highlighted in the summer. The club refused to do anything about it, thought Colin Doyle as a backup would be enough. And, it's starting to prove in the last couple of matches that it isn't, because that was a shocking piece of goalkeeping. The second goal, I don't think he can really do much about, to be fair. Obviously, I posted the clip about Sam Walker, and there's a few people saying, well, he shouldn't have got there in the first place. But that's not the point that we're making. Regardless of how poor the defending is, Sam Walker should save that every day of the week. Arundo says 5 out of 10. Kept in it first half, was poor in the second. I definitely would agree. So it's good to see a few people actually agreeing with me regarding Sam Walker. Check Diabate up next then. Actually, just read Thean's comment first. He says, oh yeah, sorry, that was your main Sam. Sorry, got confused. No worries. Check the Abate though. I'm also going to go with a 5 out of 10 for. Made a really good tackle in the first half on Kyle Hurst in one-on-one. Looks like he's about to probably put it in the back of the net, and a really, really good recovery challenge from Chet Diabate. But second half, again, really poor. He's one of the 3 players, him and Tyreek Wright and Richie Smallwood, who are defending the Molineux, Kyle Hurst counter-attack, and they all go to the same man, so he needs to be marked down for that. The second goal as well gets caught far too out of the pitch, out of position. It leaves Neil Byrne a little bit exposed, and I didn't like that from Chet Diabate. And since that match against AFC Wimbledon, where he was absolutely outstanding, I do think Diabate has been quite poor. And if Aidan Baldwin is still somehow unavailable for the game against Aldershot, I would start Brad Halliday in right centre-backs. I think Chet Diabate has been pretty poor or average in the last couple of weeks, and I think if you're not going to be standing out and being amazing like what we know he can be, then for me personally, I would drop him from the side. So I'm going to go 5 out of 10 for Chet Diabate. Thean also agrees with a 5 out of 10. Dylan says 4 out of 10 as well. A few good tackles, but a second half ruined it. And Arundo says 4. He was the one that left Molineux completely. Corbin said you wasn't doing it. Wasn't doing what, Thean? What did Corbin say that I wasn't doing? Chet Diabate? Well, he's probably right. And he's not here to defend Neil Byrne. I'm so disappointed that he's not here to defend Neil Byrne. Because Neil Byrne, for me, gets a 5 out of 10. He was poor. First half, there was about a 5 or 10 minute period where he just kept passing Doncaster the ball. 3 opportunities there to counter-attack on us, whether it was a bad touch or a horrible pass from Neil Byrne. He had a really, really bad game yesterday. Second half, I don't think he was too bad. He was kind of the reverse of Chet Diabate, where first half he was poor, second half he was bad. Diabate was obviously the opposite. But them 3 moments, and that could be us 3-0 down at that point. So Neil Byrne had a really poor game. It's been a while since we've seen him do that. I do think since he's come back into the side, he has been pretty good. But the Neil Byrne we saw yesterday was a very similar Neil Byrne to the one that we've seen for the large part so far this season. So yeah, disappointing. Obviously, that could have been 3 errors which have led to 3 separate goals. It wasn't. We managed to get some recovery tackles in and all that sort of stuff. I think the first one, Diabate went over and covered for, but his timing of going into challenges, I thought Billy Sharp got the better of him as well, especially in that first half. So certainly some concerning signs there for me with Neil Byrne. Fingers crossed it's just kind of one of them games and we don't kind of see that come back into his game again. So I'm going to go with a 5 out of 10 for him. Arundo says 5 out of 10, nearly give them a massive chance first half with a really heavy touch. Dylan says 5 out of 10. One reason it's there is because he blocked a shot on target. I don't really remember that too much. Thean says Corbin likes Neil Byrne too much. You're very right. I think he probably meant he wasn't doing the player ratings rather than we weren't doing the player ratings. Obviously, I didn't do one for the game against Cheltenham as it was mine and my girlfriend's anniversary on Wednesday. I was planning on doing one, but kind of didn't really find the time to do so, and I'm not really. This is more SHD we're talking about. There's no money on it, so there's no reason for me to get grief in the ear for me to do. So there's me being honest with you all. Drew Smith says, would have been a 0 if they were a bit more clinical in the first half. I'm glad to see there is a fellow Neil Byrne disliker. Lloyd as well, welcome him. He says, Donny showed us the level we need to get to if we're serious about getting out of this league. Doncaster looked good, especially on the break. They adapted their system. They changed some of the plays as well to combat us, and they've kind of put the blueprint on. If you want to beat Bradford City, play a 3-4-2-1. Because it massively exposed Richie Smallwood. We're going to get onto him in a moment, but Grant McCann spoke on the interview he did on Doncaster's YouTube channel basically about how you beat Bradford City. You play 2 number 10s. Smallwood obviously can't mark the both of them, and he's not got the legs to do that, and they ran us ragged, and that was really, really disappointing. But yeah, I definitely would agree with that, Lloyd. Corbin says he's not staying, but he's drunk. Good news. Well, at least you're having a good time, Corbin. That's all that matters. Arundo says, yes, they were good on the break, but I thought it was more us setting up very poorly. Yeah, they were good on the counter, but it's only because we were so naive in the way we were defending the counter. We weren't locking up defensively. We committing far too many bodies forward and leaving Luke Molineux to run 1v1 against Jack Shepherd, who's on a booking, or Neil Byrne. Didn't understand that. I think the second goal for Doncaster, we get our press completely wrong. I don't know if it was to do with Jay Ben's injury. He'd been asking to come off for 10 minutes. And then didn't. We were just speaking about Neil Byrne. We're about to move on to Jack Shepherd now. Welcome into the stream, though, BCFC Edits. And Dylan says, he's just informing Corbin about my Neil Byrne thoughts. Yeah, Corbin, what are your thoughts on Neil Byrne? While we're on the topic and while you're here, what are your thoughts on them 3 manic moments he did in the first half? Alexander was completely right with us being naive with where we were giving the ball away. We just kept giving it away in silly areas. Silly areas. We'll move on to Jack Shepherd then, probably the best of the 3 centre-backs yesterday. I'll give him a 6 out of 10. I don't think there was any real mistakes in there. You could maybe argue we should do better for the second goal, but I just think it's a great ball across from Kyle Hurst. It's perfectly weighted in a perfect area. You couldn't have asked for a better ball if you wanted to. And Billy Sharp, you've proven his experience there. I thought he stepped in with the ball well, picked up a really stupid booking for dissent or asking for yellow cards, something like that. I think that does mean now he'll be banned for the Fleetwood game. I don't think 5 booking bans carry out for the FA Cup. So I think Jack Shepherd will be banned for the Fleetwood game, which is disappointing. But I give him a 6. I don't think he was bad. Don't think he was good. He stepped in with the ball well at times. Looks quite good when he goes down the left-hand side. He looks very good technically, and I think he could do a job at left wing back as well. You know, say we're going away from home against Doncaster, playing Jack Shepherd at left wing back, I certainly don't think would be the worst idea in the world, but I'll give him a 6 out of 10 for now. BCFC Edits agrees with the 6. Hopefully, Harry, mate, I see you've had a pretty positive start to the season. How are you feeling about life in League One? Might get a job tomorrow, so fingers crossed I get there. Right, what's the job? Dylan says 4 out of 10 for Jack Shepherd. Got himself a stupid yellow for no reason, and he's now suspended. 6 out of 10, the best of the 3, says Arundo. I definitely agree with that. Does anybody know, though, someone who's more clued up on the rules, is Jack Shepherd banned for the Fleetwood game, or is it Aldershot? Because sometimes red cards carry out for cup matches, but I don't really know because it's a multiple booking ban rather than he's punched someone in the face. So who really knows? Yeah, but yeah, let me know your thoughts about Jack Shepherd in the chat, as we will move on to Richie Smallwood next. I spoke about him briefly there. I'm going to give him a 5 out of 10. He got exposed, looked leggy all over the place for their second goal. Should do better for the first one as well. Really, really slow in the midfield. And like I mentioned, Doncaster exposed him. They put 2 players on him to try and run the rings around him. And when you play a single pivot, Alexander didn't highlight it quick enough. Corey Evans should have been on at half-time. We saw that's how Doncaster wanted to play. We should have changed it up from the 1 and the 2 to the 2 and the 1 and had to sacrifice a Walker or a point, and neither of them were really affecting the play too much, especially in the first half. So I don't know why he didn't make that sub. I thought I was quite naive, and he got that tactically wrong. Did at Graham Alexander, so that was frustrating. But Smallwood had a bad game. His set pieces were good on the whole, but he did one near the end of the game, which didn't even beat the first man. And that, oh, it's so infuriating when he does that. So infuriating. No pace in the midfield. Need Patterson back. We were told Patterson would be 3 or 4 weeks. 5 weeks later, still not here. Who knows what's going on? Harry says, we started well, but we've won 1 in 9. I guess we've only lost 2. Are you drawing a lot of games then? Obviously, Stockport fan there. Dylan thinks it does count for the FA Cup, but the BCFC edits is saying they don't count. So who knows? Dylan says 4 out of 10 Small. That's it. He hates Smallwood, doesn't really understand football, so we'll move on from that. Arundo Mundo says Chat GPT thinks he's out for the Fleetwood game. So does that mean he should be able to play against Aldershot then? And Harry asks, when is Anthony Southwick back? We were told it'd be a month. He picked up the injury in August. We're now nearly in November, and there's still no signs of him. So he's probably going to be back in the new year, something like that. I think it was a knee injury which required surgery and then never normally short-term fixes. So that was quite disappointing. But in terms of Richie Smallwood, yeah, I'm going to give him a 5 out of 10. Jay Ben is up next then. I'll give him a 6 out of 10. Going forward, I thought he put in some good crosses at times. It wasn't as influential as what we know he can be. Defensively, I don't think it was bad. Didn't really have much to do. I could feel it. There it is. I could feel it coming. Apologies. Normally, I wouldn't apologise, but, you know, this is YouTube, so we've got to be a bit more classy. I could feel that one coming. Normally, I can hide it when Corbyn's here, but no, I couldn't do that then. I'll give J Ben a 6, though. I don't think it was bad. Wasn't great, though. Kind of fairly average in the game. Fingers crossed his injury isn't too serious, because we can't really afford any more of them. Obviously, Lincoln City will need, but I'll give J Ben a 6 out of 10. What were your thoughts on J Ben? He didn't really do much in the game, did he? You could maybe argue he was at fault for the second goal, or partly to blame for the second goal, because he gets the press wrong, but he looked like he were injured and he'd been asking to come off for at least 5 minutes, and we just weren't doing the substitute. And then obviously we put Point into right wing back when we did eventually do that sub. So yeah, really strange in terms of them substitutes. Obviously we did 5 at once, and we'll get onto them later on in today's live stream or video. If you haven't already, make sure to drop a like on it and subscribe to the channel as well if you're new. I think we're on the road to 400 subscribers now. Dylan says 5 out of 10 for J Ben. He needs to create more chances. Yeah, I wouldn't disagree. I think a lot of our play in the first half went down our left side, and J Ben wasn't really, kind of bombing in at the back post, you would say. But when he does get the ball and he does look to take on his man, I think he looks good when he goes 1v1. Arundo says, I think Halliday would have been better starting with hindsight. Is that defensively, offensively? What makes you think Halliday would have been better? We want a Sam Drake question of the week. All right. I'll cook one up. Just give me a moment. We'll talk about Jamie Walker first. He gets a 6 out of 10. All right, question of the week. Jamie Walker, for weeks now, has done nothing. He's offering nothing to this side. He obviously didn't play at the start of the season, got his chance with the injuries, got a couple of assists, looked really good, and now he's doing nothing. Open play, he's just not doing much. Arundo says, Jay Ben didn't offer much going forward and Halliday's better in defence. Dylan says 5 out of 10 for Jamie Walker, who's fairly basic. I wouldn't disagree. I don't think Walker's doing enough. The only reason why I give him a 6 is because I don't think he was bad, but he certainly wasn't good. He's not offering enough. No energy in there, no creativity, not scoring goals, not creating chances. I need to see more from Jamie Walker. This is his time to make sure he cements himself back in the squad. He's not currently doing that. And I think when Patterson, Sarcevic, and Daw come back, Jamie Walker could quite quickly find himself out the side, especially when Patterson and Sarcevic do come back, though. I think them two, obviously, we're starting number 8 duo at the start of the campaign. And when they're back, I think they'll come back in because I think even Bobby Poynton hasn't been that good from the off in recent weeks. And in terms of Bobby Poynton, I'll give him a 6 out of 10 as well. Very similar reasons, but I think at times showed a bit of creativity in the first half, was playing some brilliant balls in behind for Tyreek Wright. And that was good. But then in the second half, he kept losing the ball and he was being a bit frustrating. There was a minute left. He lost the ball. Instead of working really hard to win it back, he just kicked out and fouled his man. I didn't like that from Poynton. He needs to keep his head a lot better. But again, that comes down to kind of a lack of experience and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, that frustrated me a little bit. But Poynton, I'd probably give an average 6. He did some good things, did some bad things. So I'll give him a 6 out of 10. Arundo says, I'd go for 5 for both. He kept on giving it away. I definitely agree. The other reason why I'm giving Poynton a bit of praise, I think them first half passes in behind for Tyreek Wright were unbelievable. Perfectly weighted, perfect, kind of distance on them as well. So, yeah, I'll give Poynton a 6 for that. Dylan says 4 out of 10 for Poynton. I don't want to rant on, but he's a better bench player than a starter. The problem is, though, with no Adore, Patterson, Sarcevic, who would you have started in there? Because Walker and Poynton are the only 2 real number 8s that we have at the moment, which is annoying. BCFC Edit says, feel like Pato and Sarcevic were missed in that game in midfield. Bobby was getting the ball, lost quite a few times. We needed Patson's energy and we needed Sarcevic's control because we couldn't really get a foot on the ball in the midfield. And he was obviously meant to be a big player for us this season. Unfortunately, we haven't quite seen it. Let me try and find a question of the week. I'll just question of the week. I'll just quickly Google and see if I can find a random one. All right, here's one for you. Oh, actually, there's a few here. Let me have a look. This is one that I'll ask you. Oh, actually, there's a few different ones here. I'll go for the top one though. What is the most unusual job you can think of, and would you ever want to do it? That is this week's question of the week. I literally just Googled question of the day. AI has come back, a work-related one. What is the most unusual job you can think of? Let me know that, and then also let me know, would you work it or not? And if you were to work it, how much would you want to be paid a year? UK salary. So there's a few people who don't really watch from England. So yeah, that's this week's question of the week. I'll give you a moment to think about that while we talk about Tyreek Wright. First half, to be honest with you, he actually did get into a few good positions and he put some good crosses into the box. Usually, I think his crosses are poor, but he put 2 or 3 in which are in really good areas, and the strikers just weren't there. You expect Tyler Smith to get across the front post and Andy Cook to get across the back post, and neither of them were doing so. They were kind of just stood like this on the edge of the box, like one behind each other. So disappointing. Tyreek Wright actually did put some good crosses in, so that's why I'm not going to criticise him too much. But the first goal, what is he doing? What is he doing? He tries to cover, but doesn't need to cover and should just stay with Hurst. Didn't like that from Tyreek Wright, but we know he can't defend, and Alexander still persists with him. Second goal, you could maybe argue, should he be coming across and getting in front of Billy Sharp potentially? But again, I'm not going to criticise him too much for that. I think Tyreek Wright has certainly had a lot worse performances so far this season, but Lewis Richards, we all know now, should definitely be starting because he got the assist for our goal, much better defensively and much better going forward. Everyone bangs on about how good Tyreek Wright is going forward. He's not. Lewis Richards is equally or better than Tyreek Wright. Richards on Tuesday was our best player. Ask any Cheltenham fan, they'll tell you first half Lewis Richards was our biggest threat going forward, and he was. But people don't, for some reason, Lewis Richards don't get any praise, and I don't understand it. I like Lewis Richards. He's much better than Tyreek Wright, and for me personally, he should be starting. Dylan says 3 out of 10 for Tyreek Wright. He's lacking the match effort, but should be showing chase. I don't understand there. You might need to repeat. Arundo says 4 out of 10 for Tyreek Wright. Linked up well with Poynton in the first half, and those crosses were good, but defensively not involved. I definitely would not disagree with that. Get any final thoughts in on Tyreek Wright, and then he answers for the question of the week as well. I know, actually, I've been This is one thing I forgot to address. I'll just quickly read Drew's comment. He says, 1 out of 10 for Tyreek Wright. Weak link in every game. Molineux and Sterry made him look like a Sunday league player. Doncaster was certainly targeting Tyreek Wright's side when they were going forward, which was like what every team does, really, let's be honest. BCFC Edit says 3 out of 10 for Tyreek Wright. Get Richard starting every week. I would definitely agree. And Thean, is it Thean or Tian? I can't remember. Anyway, that man in the chat, he says 2 out of 10. Pretty understandable. I know I said that play ratings would be at 7:30, and obviously I've started this one at 8:45. Obviously, I was on Notts County Talk, talking all things League Two for the month just gone by. So that is the reason why there was no play ratings at 7:30. I know that's what I said last week, but every 4 weeks, I think it'll be delayed a little bit because I like to go on as many channels as possible. If anyone ever asks me to go on a channel, I'm there every time without fail, unless someone else has already booked me to be on. Because, I get quite a lot of bookings and I'll never say no. So if anyone wants me to come on, I'll be there. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, an hour, I'll be there. I like going over people's channels. The more subs you have, though, the better. You might have also seen on Stuntpeg's Instagram, slide number 6 of a recent post, there's a very handsome chap on there. That's all I'm saying. That is all I'm saying. It's not all I'm saying, because we've got Andy Cook to talk about, actually. He gets a 6 out of 10 from me. Scored a goal. Apart from that, was poor, really poor. Great goal. Obviously, now back to being the league's top goal scorer with 8. Very nice. But his overall play was poor. Jay McGrath bullied him. Olowy was very good defensively as well. And I can't give him much higher than a 6. Great for him to get on the score sheet again. But apart from that, it was really poor. His link-up play wasn't great at times. Got bullied by McGrath. I know that they were very physical with him. His shirt was constantly like this or like this. So it was all over the place. I'm surprised he didn't bloody rip. They were aggressive. We weren't aggressive enough. And I think it was Jack Senior, the left centre-half, normally a left-back, was filling in there. He was really aggressive with Cook. And the liner somehow didn't see it at times. But I can't give Cook any higher than a 6 because while he did score a good goal, his overall performance was pretty poor. That chap needs a trim. Well, that chap did get a trim. And now look. Do you see why the hat's on? This is why you should never cheat on your barber shop. Never cheat on your barber. Rex's, I don't know why I've called you that. Dylan says 6 out of 10 for Andy Cook. He got the goal, but he was in the pocket. He was. Normally we see when Cook is in the pocket, he's in there all game. So the fact that he still managed to pop up with a goal is obviously positive. But again, we are relying on the big man for goals. It was a great ball in though from Lewis Richards. It was one that was begging to be attacked. Absolutely begging to be attacked. Arundo says 6 for Andy Cook. Was impressed with their centre-backs. I was as well. I was speaking with a couple of Doncaster fans on Twitter about Jay McGrath. They brought him in December. I think he's a Doncaster fan, but he'd been playing in the League of Ireland. And actually, I don't think he was starting this season. I'm pretty sure it was Tom Anderson somehow, even though he's useless. But Jay McGrath's worked his way into the side and obviously looks absolutely brilliant now, doesn't he? BCFC Edit says 6.5 out of 10 for Cook. At least he's still the top goal scorer. Lloyd Wilkinson says that Sanderson must have done something to piss off Alexander if he'd rather play Smith, let alone Cavan in front of him. I would agree. This was something that I tweeted about, and someone who I believe has a little bit of insider knowledge basically said that he's got an attitude problem. And I asked if it was anything to do with the halftime sub against Harrogate, and there wasn't a reply, but there was a like on the tweet. So it seems like the rumours are true. Sanderson's had a bit of a falling out. Obviously, not even on the bench yesterday. I don't really know what's going on. I was speaking about this on the League 2 roundup that I was doing with Notts County Talk, Super Sadler Seb, and Gab Sutton, that we just not got a good partner for Andy Cook. I think it was Gab asked me, who's the best partner for Andy Cook? And I said none of them, because they all don't offer anything positive. It's like playing with 10 men at times. I actually thought, we'll talk about Tyler Smith. I've gone with a 6 out of 10 for Tyler Smith as well, actually. I thought his link-up play was good. Didn't really get any sniffs. Their centre-halves are very aggressive with him, going through the back of him constantly. Referee was terrible yesterday, wasn't he? Both sets of supporters can definitely agree with that. He was useless both ways. But in that first half, when Smith just got completely cleaned out and nearly scored from it, how we didn't give that as a foul was terrible. Absolutely shocking. The threshold for a yellow card was far too low again as well. But yeah, Tyler Smith, I'll go with a 6 out of 10 for him. Thean Bantam says 7 out of 10. I assume that's for Andy Cook. Drew Smith says Cook and Oliver together may be our best option. Now, if we go with Smallwood and Evans holding midfielders, a number 10, whichever one you want that to be, it could even be Calvin Cabinet, and then Cook and Oliver, that could work. Slightly tweak the way we're playing. That could certainly work. Arundo Mundo says, what's odd is he does still attend the games, so I don't fully buy it. Ollie Sanderson. Yeah, well, he was on the bench on Tuesday, wasn't he? It's not like he's just been shipped off back to Fulham. He's probably just got to work harder to get his way back into the side. Sanderson is best of the worst of them. Best of the worst. You mean like the best of a bad bunch? Welcome into the stream as well. Hope you are well. 4 out of 10 for Tyler Smith is harsh. 6 out of 10 says Dylan. Smith was brought in to keep the ball, but it did not work. I thought he kept the ball well, linked up the play, just didn't really get the chance. Did he? He had a half chance in the first half, which was blocked and out for a corner. That's the problem, though. He's not got the physicality or pace to beat a man, has he? Didn't even know Rupp was at the game on Saturday, so we always lose when he's there. Yeah, we never have the best of results, do we? Was he there for the Salford game? He's not been to many games. He promised he'd be at a lot more, and I guess a lot more than 1 or 2 is 3. So, I mean, I thought I'd be there every week or every other week maximum, but no, certainly doesn't seem that way. Let's move on to our substitutions then. We do certainly get through a lot of these player ratings a lot quicker when Corbyn's not here yapping about all the nonsense that he yaps on about. Super Bantam says, yes, best of a bad bunch. Smallwood said tactics were to swarm around Smallwood. We were talking about this earlier, where he basically just highlighted, if you want to beat Bradford City, play a 3-4-2-1 and have your 2 number 10s run rings around Smallwood because he's not got the legs to mark both of them. Yeah, he will do. We won't see Joe Adams in a Bradford City shirt again. Or at least not this season. I don't see why we'd re-sign him, which is a shame because he looked decent. But yeah, the fact that that AFC Wimbledon play did his ACL and it wasn't even given as a foul. Again, mental refereeing decisions, absolutely mental. But yeah, Joe Adams, I don't think we'll see again. Unless we get into the playoffs. But even then, I would expect him to officially return in January and we don't have to pay his wage and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, I guess we'll move on to the substitutions next. We'll start firstly. Obviously, they were all done at once, so we're just going to go through in a random order. Actually, first person to put a message in the chat, which sub should we start out with? I'll let you pick because they're all at the exact same time, so we'll go through in any order. I guess obviously some were technically made before others, but I'm happy to go in whatever order. Who do you want to start out with? There's one player I want to leave until the end, but I guess if Dylan picks him first, then we'll speak about him first. Lewis Richards, then we'll speak about first. Man of the match for me, 7.5 out of 10. Well, you all want me to talk about Lewis Richards, so we'll do it. 7.5 out of 10 for me. Proved way should be starting week in, week out. Brilliant ball into the box for Andy Cook. Finally got the right amount of trajectory, height on it as well. Lewis Richards was definitely man of the match. I said before the game it was incredibly harsh to drop him. Then he obviously come on after 20 minutes in the second half, 65th minute, something like that. Was it 65th or 75th minute? Something like that. I don't know. It might have been 75th minute. We were waiting that bloody long to see him come on. Puts a great ball into the box for Andy Cook and just physically going forward offers so much more than Tyreek Wright. 9.5 is very high. I would say that. 8 couldn't have done more in his time on the pitch. I would agree, Rundo. Absolutely agree. Has to start against Aldershot. I think Graham Alexander said the reason why he changed both fullbacks is because they want more output from them and, 3 games in a week would have been physically demanding. But Lewis Richards came on after about half an hour against Gillingham. Then he played against Cheltenham on a Tuesday to then play on a Saturday. If he can't start in that game, how unfit is he? Considering the pre-season he must have done. Yeah, I don't like that. He's looked fitter and stronger on the ball this season. I definitely would agree. He's certainly improved more than what he was last year. I mean, the fact that he couldn't get in the team over Liam Rideout last season is a big concern. 8 out of 10 that says Dylan, best player to make an impact, wonderful cross, work the channel well. Bradford says, I rate Richards, but that might be because Wright hardly offers anything. BCFC Edit says 7.5 out of 10, great assist for Cookie, goal should 100%, great assist for Cookie's goal, comma, there should be a comma there, should 100% start against Fleetwood, what you want in a super sub. I'm not going to the Aldershot game though. My next game is actually not for a while, not for a long time. Not doing Fleetwood because I want paying £29 for a ticket. Not doing Colchester because I've been there and it's an absolute mile away. Then is it Accrington at home? So yeah, I'm not doing the Aldershot game because it's Aldershot at home. With all due respect, I'm not paying money for Aldershot at home. Can't remember the last time we had a decent left back. Everyone always bangs on about James Meredith, though. They've not had a good one since him. But then before Brad Halliday last season, everyone said we've not had a good right back since Stephen Darby. But I guess you could go through the whole team and say that because we've been that bloody useless for that long. Now look at Liam plays for Guiseley. Exactly. Who wants to play for Guiseley? So yeah, Lewis Richards for me, 7.5 out of 10 at comfortably man of the match. Let me know in the chat. Who should we go to next? You have Halliday, Oliver, Evans, and Kavanagh to go through. There's one that I don't really have much to say on, and the other three I have a little bit to say on. EFL Trophy game before Accrington. I'm not going to that one. Rotherham at home. Yay. Brad Halliday. We'll go to Halliday. I saw you read it on Halliday. It was quite a good one. Bradley Halliday. He gets a 6.5 out of 10 for me. He came on for Chet Diabate, played right centre half, and I thought, looked all right. Was composed on the ball, put a few crosses into the box. A few times didn't quite beat the first man, which did frustrate me a little bit, but thought he kept things tidy. Defensively looked sound. I know when Doncaster were 2-0 up at that point, then they don't really need to go gung-ho and get a third, so he didn't have that much defending to do, but I think Halliday looks pretty comfortable as a right side centre half, and I think that could be his position going forward for me. So yeah, I'm going to go 6.5 out of 10. Let me know your thoughts in the chat. Go from least to say to most to say. Oh, I just realised Dylan actually said Oliver. So we'll come to Oliver next. But yeah, Brad Halliday for me gets a 6.5 out of 10. Let me know your thoughts on him in the chat. Would you start him right centre half? Would you start him over Chet Diabate? Let me know. Dylan says 5 out of 10. By the time his cross should be better, that's it. Sam, if you wanted any City player back, who would it be? Are we talking about what they'd be like now, or are we talking about thinking about them coming back for a season in their prime? Because I've got two different answers for that. Super Bantam says 6, you would start him on the bench. So would you start Chet Diabate over Brad Halliday? I guess it's hard to talk about what you do in the Aldershot game or the Fleetwood game in terms of next game, because Aldershot, you could make a few changes. For the Aldershot game, I won't be surprised to see Oliver get a start. I wouldn't be surprised to see Corey Evans get a start, for example, Paul Huntington. But against Fleetwood, I expect us to go back to the full strength side. But we might make a few changes against Aldershot. And I hope we do. No disrespect to Aldershot, but I want to see Evans, Huntington play from the off and see what they're actually all about. Because that's going to be their main chance to get a contract. But then again, we've got the game against Rotherham in the EFL Trophy, so maybe you play him in that. I'm not too sure. I guess we'll have to wait and see. We will come to... You could use that game as an experiment. You could, and I think we normally would have made a few changes if we didn't have the EFL Trophy game on the Tuesday. So, Viden Oliver, we will come to next. I'm going to go 6.5 out of 10 for him. I thought he had quite a positive impact on the game. Won a few headers, physically took a bit of pressure off of Cook, and finally their centre-halves looked to be under a bit of threat, which I thought was positive signs because I thought they bullied Cook throughout the majority of the game. But I thought Oliver, for once, actually came on and had a little bit of an impact on the game. Looked quite promising, and he might get a start against Aldershot. He probably will get a start against Rotherham. I don't know why that was so difficult for me to fathom. But obviously, Oliver scored against Mansfield in the Cup. We know he can score goals, but it's about doing it in the league. And for the money he's on, he doesn't score enough of them. Arundo says 6 out of 10. Thought he was actually quite effective. I would definitely agree. Dylan says 6 out of 10. Impact was brilliant, but got into Cook way, which was annoying. Super Bantam says Oliver never looks a goal threat. Not that Smith or Kavanagh do either. No, I definitely would agree. I think did Kavanagh play the 1-2 with Lewis Richards for our goal? I think so. But I thought Oliver did physically take a bit of physical pressure off for Cook, and like Drew says, he actually did put himself about for once, which he doesn't normally do. So I give Oliver a 6.5 out of 10. So the final two players were Corey Evans and Callum Kavanagh. Who do you want to speak about first? I don't think they work starting together as they get in each other's way. I think they could work if we play with an attacking midfielder and 2 central midfielders rather than the 1 and the 2 if we play the 2 to the 1. That could work. Who knows, though? Who knows? You got to keep trying things because we need a partner for Cook because all of them are bloody useless. We'll go to Callum Kavanagh next. Not really much to say about Kavanagh, so I'll give him a 6 out of 10. Like we just mentioned there, played the 1-2 with Lewis Richards for our goal. I'm going to say our first goal, not our only goal of the game. It technically was our first goal, but our only one. But yeah, Super Bantam made a really good point that I completely forgot about. Under no pressure, nobody around him. He just passed the ball straight out of play. At times, I think you won a competition. This was one thing that me and I think it was Gab Sutton were talking about on the League 2 roundup about Callum Kavanagh. We all expected him to kick on at the start of the season. Yeah, he did bring a bit of energy. We all expect him to kick on. Some people saying finish as our top goal scorer. We're going to get 20 goals, 25 goals. Going to score more than Cook this year. some people already got egg on their face, haven't they? Started out poorly, then got injured. Alexander kind of took him out the firing line for a little bit. Came back in and hasn't looked awful, but just doesn't offer enough, does he? Needs to learn the offside rule. It wasn't him who was offside for that goal. Andy Cook was offside from the original free kick. Hopefully we can beat Aldershot. Hopefully. But I'm 99% sure I can't go to the second round game. So, yeah, I won't be there. So hopefully if we do get through and we get someone stinky in a game that we all don't want to go to. Was nothing special last season. I wouldn't say his performances were amazing, but he scored goals last season. What did he get? 5 or 6, I think, which is, very good. Bring us Leeds away second round. Well, they don't come until the third round, so, that's fine. If we got Leeds away, I would genuinely cancel all plans to be there, only to see us probably be pumped 4-0. Imagine we got Leeds away, though. That'd be lovely, wouldn't it? Who were the final player to go through and talk about? Corey Evans. I'll give him a 6.5 out of 10 as well. Came on, kept things ticking over in the midfield nicely. I thought he looked quite calm on the ball, looked pretty positive. I do want to see him get a start at some point because I think he could be a really good player for us. But when he's getting 5, 10, 15 minutes on off the bench, it's not really enough to judge on. Same thing about Paul Huntington. I want to see these players getting proper minutes, and then we can see a bit more about them. So, yeah, I'll give Corey Evans a 6.5 out of 10. And for the final player in this episode, if you're watching this as a video, hopefully you've enjoyed. If you're here in the live chat, let me know your thoughts. How do you assess Corey Evans' game? Worryingly, Cook looked injured last 15 minutes after all the subs. Yeah, it looked like he rolled his ankle or got a bit of a kick on his leg, something like that. I did see him hobbling at times. Dylan says he supported Smallwood and needs a chance to start. I mean, would you drop Smallwood? Would you start Evans as the lone pivot? Would you play them both? Or is that too defensive then? Could you have 5 defenders and 2 defensive midfielders? And then rely on a front 3? You'd have to have a pretty good front 3 then, wouldn't you? No, Dylan, when I give you multiple answers, don't give me 100%. So what are you 100% in? I've given you multiple options. But yeah, for those who missed the question of the week earlier, what is the most unusual job you can think of? And would you ever want to work it? And if you would want to work it, how much would you want to be paid for that? Realistically, don't be telling me you want to work at Tesco's for £2 million a year. All right? Or Corbyn's going to be ending the bed tonight. And I know some people might like that. But that's not for me personally. Super Bantam says Evans did okay, needs to play next few games instead of Smallwood. Dylan also says Smallwood should be dropped. I don't think Alexander will. He obviously it's his captain and he loves him quite a lot. So I don't think he will drop him. But yeah, there we have our player ratings. A beekeeper, is that an unusual job? It's not really something that, I guess you don't really see many of them, do you? No, you wouldn't do it. How much should a beekeeper be paid, do we reckon? If anyone says something, no, I'm actually not going to say that. No, because it's not Twitch, and I could get cancelled if I say it on YouTube. So I guess you're never going to know what I thought of them. A butler. You want to be paid a penny in coppers. Is a butler an unusual job? What's the most unusual job I can think of? Is an astronaut a job, or is that more of a hobby? That's pretty unusual, isn't it? I don't know. I've not got a list in front of me, either. I don't want to go on for too much longer. I've been here for nearly 40 minutes of your time, so I'm going to love you and leave you. I'll quickly run through my play ratings again. Sam Walker, 5. Chet Diabate, 5. Neil Byrne, 5. Jack Shepherd, 6. Richie Smallwood, 5. Jay Ben, 6. Jamie Walker, 6. Bobby Poynton, 6. Tyreek Wright, 5. Andy Cook, 6. Tyler Smith, 6. Callum Kavanagh, 6. Corey Evans, 6.5. Viden Oliver, 6.5. Lewis Richards, 7.5. And Brad Halliday, 6.5 as well. I'm just going to pop out to space for fun. A model railway maker. Train drivers, they're bloody overpaid, aren't we? Cancel me for that one. 65 grand a year to press a couple of buttons. Utter woke nonsense. I want to be a train driver. If there's any train drivers in the chat, send me 20 quid. Yeah, I saw that. I don't really know what happened, but apparently only a yellow card got given for the Charlie White challenge. Who knows? And obviously we saw a brilliant Harry Lewis blunder, didn't we? I'm going to end the stream, though, before we get to 40 minutes. So thank you all so much for watching. Thank you all for typing your thoughts in the chat as well. Really do appreciate it. Make sure to drop a like on there for me and subscribe to the channel as well if you are new. Get your thoughts in in at the live chat. And apart from that, I'll see you very soon for another one. Peace out.